welcome back to Midwest Snowglobe Repair and Enchantment. So we have another customer's snow globe that we need to repair here. Let's see, it looks like it is missing all of its water, and it seems to have a little bit of mold in there, so we're going to have to give this a very good cleaning. Otherwise, I don't really see anything that's broken on the base, so as long as I have a stopper that will fit this easily, this should be a relatively simple fix. So let's get started. Alright, so first thing is first, let's get this bottom hatch opened. So the tune for this one is Christmas Silent Night. And I did test the music box. It turns out that it is broken, so I'm gonna have to replace that. That's a pretty easy fix though, because I was able to find a music box with the same tune on Amazon for relatively cheap. Yep, coming right off. That was easy. Okay, yep, I see. So, looks like a bunch of pieces have broken away from this music box, because when you wind it, this is all it does. Yep, no good. And I've tried to put it back together, see if I could get it running again another occasion, but never was successful. So if any of you have any tips on how I could fix them like this, let me know in the comments. Okay, so what I'm hoping for is that this may not be completely rotted, but if it is, I'm gonna check in my stash and see if maybe I have a stopper that's the same size. Mark that. And now, get started on this process. At least, as far as I can tell, the stopper seems to be okay, and I don't see any gaps, so I'm not real sure why all the water had leaked out. There's gotta be some kind of reason. That old glue off there. Pretty sticky, which is kind of unusual. Usually it's not so sticky like that. Oh, yep, I can tell. It just ripped on me, so yep, it did rot. That's too bad. So this is going to be just a little bit more difficult, because now I have to find a stopper the same size so the figurine can go and sit back in there properly. Come here. Still got to be careful though, because I don't want to break the glass. There we go, here it comes. Okay, yep, see right there. Torn apart completely. So, and it looks like it's got a bunch of mold, so I'm not going to be able to preserve that original glitter, unfortunately. So I'm going to start getting this all cleaned up, and then we'll be back to put it back together. Alright, so now I've got everything cleaned as well as I could. I can't really tell if with this base, if it's supposed to have a little darkness to the angel wings, but at the same time, I don't want to really paint over them because I'm afraid it'll take away some of the vintage charm that this seems to have, because this looks like it is pretty old. So I think I'm gonna leave it that way for now, unless the customer wants me to change that up. Let's see. I want to make sure and get some of the rest of this excess glue out of the way. That way it doesn't get into the snow globe, because that's happened a couple of times. Okay, I think I've got it all. Alright, so now it looks like we're pretty much ready to get it filled up, because I already found a stopper for this. It took me the first try and found it right away. Let's see here. We'll get this ready. And looks like I only have a little bit of distilled water left, so I'm gonna have to go find more. I will be back with you shortly. Alright, now I've found another jug of water. We are good to go. Alright, let me get this here. I'll just pour what's left of this inside there. Okay, we'll get our new jug of water opened and we'll fill up the rest. Another one of those pretty large snow globes that I repaired a couple of weeks ago. Get glycerin in. Just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol in. We'll mix it up real good. You can kind of see in the glass there, it gets a little cloudier before it gets more clear. Okay. So I think I'm going to use an actual spoon this time. We're going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon starting off. Let's see how that looks. Actually, I'm just going to do it this way. A little easier. And then I'll give that a mix and see how it looks. Oh yeah, that's definitely enough, I think. If I add any more, it's just going to be way too much. Alright. So, lesson learned from the past. Always put the cap back on when you're done putting the glitter in. Okay, now I need to find the front, which is this. And place them in facing forward. Okay. Just gotta be careful with this process, because this stopper, since it's newer, it's just a smidge wider than the original. So it's going to be just a little bit of a tighter squeeze to get in there, but I made sure already and I know it will fit. Because what I did was I compared the size of this one with the original side by side, and they were indeed the same, minus just a small difference. Where did mine? Here they are. Push that in just a smidge too far. There we go. Out of there for a second. Oops. Yep, that's what I don't want to happen. But it did. But luckily I didn't push it all the way through. Sometimes putting in a new stopper, this does happen. It can be kind of a fuss. I'm going to go ahead and put you on a pause. That way you don't have to waste a lot of time watching this. Alright, back to it, you guys. So I finally got it in place. But then when I looked to make sure it was all good and straight, I noticed the figurine did not fully seal to the stopper. So I had to pull it back out, dry it off well, and put even more super glue just to make sure it's held down. But anyway, it's all good now, so now we're ready to start sealing this up. I've got my hot glue gun warmed up already. Another stick ready. I'm going to go around real good just to make sure it's well sealed. Kind of just makes me wonder with snow globes, you know, when they're originally made in the factories, why do they not ever seal them the way I do? I mean, I understand in the beginning that it's really optional, you know, because the stoppers don't have as much flex, but as the years go by, they get a little bit more flexible. And then that's when they start to either fall apart or they shift just enough for all the water to escape. But what do I know? Some more up here. Make sure that this isn't gonna come off. I have one more stick here. I think that'll do it. So I kind of check around here. Oh, there is one bubble that did come up. I'm gonna pop that. Oh, here it is. And now I'm gonna put a little bit more glue over it. There we go. Let's see really anything else. All right, so I'm going to give this some time to cool down. And while we're waiting on that, we can go ahead and get the music box situation fixed up. So here I have this. This is the old one. Find my screwdriver. Here we go. Get that ready. And then in here we have our new music box. The same tune. So some snow globes, you can find another music box with the original tune that you're looking for on Amazon. However, it doesn't always work with every single one, so sometimes you really have to search thoroughly. Okay, so you can see brand new music box compared to the original. So, to do that, I can tell this is going to be a little bit of a chore. Oh, there we go. Got to remove this and just basically unscrew it. Since this has a little rust to it, it's going to take just a little bit more time. And so, like I said, this is a customer's snow globe, not mine. They have asked for a repair job on. So I'm not sure if they had originally bought it from Goodwill or not. Not a sponsor. Okay. Just place where the winder would go right inside there, and then you gotta try to match the other little holes. Let's see, there's one and there's two right there. Okay, perfect. And I'll go ahead and I'll just use the new screws and winder. Why are we not going in there now? Oh, it shifted a little. That's why. Try. There we go. Sometimes this can take a minute too. You just gotta kind of watch it, because sometimes the screws, when you put them in, it likes to shift the box over enough to where you can't get the other screw all the way in. Come on now. I think I'll just use the original screws, because they're just a little thinner than those are. What in the world's going on? Maybe I don't have it quite right. Let's try this one. Not quite right either. Huh. Oh, here we go. Aha, there we go, there we go. Now we've got it. So Just didn't have it quite right. It can fool you sometimes, though. It's done that to me a few times. Yep, now we're good. Winder back on. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I'm just going to make sure it's going to fit in there without any issue. And it will. Perfect. Okay. So the last step that we need to do is go ahead and get this glued into place. And then it will be ready. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that right now. And I only use a few drops of glue. Just, it makes it easier to open back up if you really need to, but at the same time it also is enough to keep it on there without it just flying off. There we go. Take that little badger off. Alright, I'm gonna let this cool down and seal, and then I'll get it up to the pedestal for you guys. Alright guys, here she is. All filled up again and looking pretty good. Originally, it was pretty gross in there. You know, you could barely see the angels inside. But yeah, cleaned up pretty well, I'd say, too. Couple of spots that I really could not get to come off, but I really just don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. But at the same time, it does give it a little bit more of a vintage look. So I'll go ahead and shake it up for you guys, and then play the music box. And that turned out very nice. So in the video it looks a little bit more of a silver-like glitter, but in real life it's one of those that does change colors. I think that was pretty appropriate. Appreciate you guys for coming to watch again. Can't wait to work on the next with you.